Hello, I'm Stephanie. Today I'm going to provide a presentation about motivations in international management. So let's see the question today. Which an Australian manager is being posed to Indonesia? And I'll explain using both content and process-based motivations theory and what are the difference between motivating staff in Australia and Indonesia. And also provide the issues that might influence employees' motivation in Indonesia and what are those strategies that is appropriate for the Australian managers to overcome these challenges. So we have content-based motivations. These motivations can be defined as the individual motivations will be generated when the individual needs is fulfilled or satisfied. So let's see the Australia country. Australia country is being an individualistic country, which the individual is more important than a group. So in this case, the employees in Australia will be more concerned or focused self-interest compared to the groups. And in this case, individual extrinsic and intrinsic rewards can be applied for the from the manager in Australia to the employees. And also another point is that Australia is being a developed country, which means that the employees in Australia will be more likely to focus on the upper level of the social hierarchy of needs, which can refer to self-actualizations or esteem of the needs. Therefore, the manager in Australia can use the individual monetary rewards or promotions and recognitions for the employees in order to reinforce or motivate the employees in Australia to keep working in the company. On the other hand, we have the collectivist country, which is Indonesia. Indonesia will be more likely to focus on group success, which is more important than the personal interest. And in this case, group extrinsic and intrinsic rewards can be applied. And also, Indonesia as a developing country will be more likely to focus on the down level, the lower level of the social hierarchy of needs, which is the safety needs or the psychological needs. Therefore, manager in Indonesia can provide the safety of the job and also reasonable work hours or wages for the employees in Indonesia as an motivations. So we have another motivations theory, which is process-based. Process-based is referring to the motivations will be generated throughout the growth process of the employees. And under this theory, we have two theories, which is equity and expectancy theory. Equity theory is referring to the individual will be motivated by the sense of the fairness in their interaction in the company. And the comparison that comes from the employees compared to the reference that will receive a sense of fairness, and this will become motivations as the employees to work in a company. On the other hand, we have expectancy theory, which is referring to the expectations that the employees will receive. It's not receive the expectations that the employees will provide in when they engaging in their work, and they are expect to have a reward or punishment after the completion of the job. So for Australia company, under the equity theory, the input and outcome ratio should be the same or similar compared to the reference. Reference is in this case is referring to the people who are providing a similar job compared to the employee he or herself. So for Australia, as being an individualism country, the employees in Australia might think it is unfair for him or for her to do the same work as the employee but have higher pay than the employee he or herself. So it is important for the Australia manager to take this equity theory into consideration. And also expectancy theory, they have a high expectancy level which they believe if they work hard and they will get rewarded. Therefore, this is the implications for the manager in Australia, which rewarded need to be distributed equally and appropriately. And on the other hand, we have Indonesia. And the input-outcome ratio can be different among employees because they think that it is fair since the person is better than the employee he or herself. It is also that this is also that the employees in Indonesia believe that whatever the rewards that is received by the reference is because the reference have a different skill compared to the employees him or herself. And also, employees will see the result as a group performance compared to personal performance, which will eventually lead to the goals of the company. And for the expectancy theory, Indonesia employees have a middle level expectancy as they have a strong belief in the subjugation in nature. This point describes that the Indonesian will believe that the nature controls people's life and they should accept whatever positions that given by the nature. Therefore, the implications for the manager in Indonesia can provide the rewards and apply when it is needed for the Indonesia employees as a motivations to work in a company. And moving on to the issues that might influence employees' motivations in Indonesia. First is the different culture in Indonesia compared to Australia, which is the most important one because culture will be different from country to country. And as an example, the emotional expression of Indonesian is difficult to determine because the emotional can be expressed in a ways that may be confused our Australian managers because the Indonesian will not provide their emotional in front of the manager. And second is the stereotype issue. Stereotype issue is the individual's bias thinking that towards others. An individual will judge others' behavior or personality based on their available knowledge. So, as a manager come from Australia, as the Australia is being a developed country, the employees in Indonesia might think that the manager will give the several tasks which is not able to complete by the Indonesians. And also identify the wrong needs for the Indonesian employees. So for the Australian manager, in Australia, which is a developed country, more which have more opportunity to improve themselves and also motivate themselves. But in Indonesia, they they might have different needs compared to the Australia. And also the strategies to overcome these challenges. Before the Australian manager enter Indonesia, the managers can have a knowledge about Indonesia culture and in terms of the ways of Indonesian doing business and also the ways to get respect from the Indonesian employees. And also, the Australian managers can develop the skills to adapt different culture in different country. So, the skills is also including respect to the difference in culture and also setting the goals or the objectives of the company is set based on the relatability of the culture in Indonesia, which means that the goals and objectives of the company is able to relate with the Indonesian culture and the goals and objectives of the company. So this goes to my presentation and this is the reference. Thank you.